An appeals court yesterday rejected failed Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake's lawsuit challenging her election loss. A three-judge panel upheld a lower court's ruling that said Lake did not provide enough evidence to support her claims that the election results were tainted by illegal votes and misconduct by election officials. The chief judge wrote in part that the evidence ultimately supports the court's conclusion that voters were able to cast their ballots, that votes were counted correctly, and that no other basis justifies setting aside the election results. This ruling comes as Lake's lawyers are facing bar complaints over their work with the former candidate. The lawyers have already been sanctioned by a federal judge over an election-related lawsuit. Where are these lawyers coming from, Joe, that Trump is getting and Kari Lake? Who are these people? Who are these people? Where do they get them, like off the side of the road?
Who are these men? Who are these men? She asked from the witness stand in the verdict. And women. And women. But you know, Elise, we can actually just step back for a second here and look at all the times we asked, are some people just above the law? Can lawyers just go in front of courts and lie? Like, is there no recourse? Is there no justice? We are finding now, time and time again. I mean, let's just look at the top two stories this morning. A grand jury found what was found time and time again by Republican-appointed judges in Georgia, by a Republican governor in Georgia, by a Republican secretary of state in Georgia, by Republican elected officials in Georgia. And we just had a three-judge panel in Arizona find what Republicans in Maricopa County have founded, Republican-appointed judges have founded, Republican officials founded time and time again, that there was no election fraud. And not only are these people facing justice in court, and Donald Trump may face the ultimate justice in court with a coming indictment in Georgia, but even their lawyers are being held accountable for going in front of judges and just lying. This is something, I guess as a lawyer, it's kind of strange. As a politician, I understand everything's on the table. You've got to swat everything away. But the lawyer in me has always been deeply offended by the arguments that these people have made in front of judges. And I asked myself from the very beginning, how can Rudy Giuliani get away with that? How can these other lawyers get away with it? I would have been disbarred the first day if I had tried to do something. Chuck would have been disbarred as a lawyer if he had tried doing something. How are these people getting away with this? And we're finding out as time goes on, Elise, they're not getting away with this.
Well, I think of the ordinary citizen who's petrified of a traffic ticket, Joe, and they don't get away with it. And it seemed like all of these lawyers and former government officials have just gotten away with so much. It does look like in Georgia, Republican officials held the line well, and I think that's going to reflect well for their political fortunes down the road, potentially, especially looking at Governor Brian Kemp. But you have all of these top officials like Donald Trump. Is he ever going to face consequences? I still don't. Giuliani,
so I understand this feeling. Yeah.
Everyone else is facing consequences.
People are in jail.
Level.
People are in jail.
The
people are
Proud
charged
Boys,
with seditious conspiracy.
They face consequences, but when will Donald Trump actually face consequences?
That's my question for Professor Eddie Glaude. Is it good that these people keep coming back to the trough and trying to find some sort of infraction against them, some sort of election conspiracy, and judges keep saying no, or is it good because judges keep saying no, or is it bad that they keep coming back? They keep coming back to Kari Lake, Donald Trump. When will they ever go away and realize they lost and probably broke the law?
Well, it's a good thing, Mika, that judges are saying no. It's a bad thing, though, that they keep coming back because it erodes the trust in the democratic process. Part of what Joe and we've been talking about is that Americans have been awash in lies, and those lies have in some ways affected our ability to engage in reasoned deliberation, to do the work that democracy, that Madisonian democracy requires of us. And you know, with Donald Trump tweeting out that you know the special grand jury's report is a clear exoneration of him. That's just Fat Elvis running the Bill Barr move with regards to Mueller, right? So we know that these people are constantly trying to angle their way to pursue power and to protect themselves, but the ongoing effect, though, is in some ways, the erosion of the foundation of our democratic process. So it's dangerous, Mika. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So Chuck Rosenberg, obviously, Georgia is just one of many places where Donald Trump faces legal peril. To Elise's point, we don't know whether he actually will have to face the music. He might. He hasn't yet. But as you look at where these threats remain, that's Georgia. That's the special counsel January 6th. That's, of course, the Mar-a-Lago documents. That's cases in New York, D.C., just about everywhere, it seems. Where do you assess these places in terms of where he faces the greatest legal risk? And with the idea that, of course, for any case that involves someone as high profile as Donald Trump, it would seem to be prosecutors would only bring a charge if they're really confident they can get a conviction.
Yeah, Jonathan. So let me take your second point first, because it's an incredibly important one. As a federal prosecutor, our standards, our guidelines require that we have a reasonable probability of conviction before we charge somebody. So a hunch doesn't cut it. You know, my personal belief, Jonathan, that you committed a crime isn't enough. You know, to Eddie's point, we need this pesky thing called evidence, and the courts of the United States are where evidence matters. So, you know, you can say things that aren't true on television. You can say things that aren't true on the well of the House floor. But in court, it matters. And so prosecutors need evidence. We only see a small portion of what prosecutors in Manhattan may have, or in Fulton County may have, or in Jack Smith's federal investigation, what they may have. And so it's really hard for us to judge the totality of the case against perhaps Donald Trump and others. But evidence matters in court. And Joe was talking about this earlier, right? If you show up without evidence, you lose. You may not lose in politics, but you lose in court. And if you think back to the 60 or so cases that the Trump folks brought challenging the election after November 2020, they lost every single one of them. And the reason they lost every single one of them is they didn't have evidence. It's not that complex. So, Jonathan, I don't know which case poses the greatest existential threat to Mr. Trump, because I haven't seen all of the evidence. But good prosecutors and good agents are working assiduously on these cases. And if they bring charges, it's because they believe they have a reasonable probability of conviction, our standard. Because if you do bring charges, and this isn't just true for Mr. Trump, it's true for anybody, you want to bring charges that are going to hold up in court because they're evidence-based. And that's what we ought to be looking for and waiting for and watching for.
All right, Chuck Rosenberg, former U.S. attorney, as always, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Chuck.